Hey everyone, this is Kyle Lacey for another edition of the Baer Facts, and we have actually been gone for the past couple weeks. So I think that, on behalf of Jay and myself, we apologize for not giving you the content need that you had over the past couple weeks. But today we are going to talk about something that I overheard recently over conversation, the fact that you, when you're looking at social media and we're talking about social media managers, you should be focusing in terms of time spent, you should be focusing 90% on engagement and 10% on content. And I really think it has to do with what you're selling and what your brand is, right? I would say that an airline would probably be spending 90% on engagement and 10% on content if they're using it for customer service, right? But it's really hard for me as a content marketer to say that engagement is more important than content creation, because content creation is the one thing that brands have a really hard time with to begin with, right? Let alone time. And you got to take it into context and what we were saying. But Jay, what do you think about that concept of and just for background, they use Gary V. Wine Library as an example of that working.
Well, number one, are you dialing in from a subterranean lair somewhere? It appears that you're in a catacombs, and doing this edition of the Bear Facts
I'm
from
I,
somewhere deep in Transylvania. Welcome, Kyle
I'm
Lacey.
I'm actually in LA and it is
Same
early.
thing.
It
Same
is
thing.
early here, so my
It is early.
apologies
It's
for the
still dark.
catacombs.
Well done. I appreciate you taking one for the team. Well, okay, a couple things. One, everybody trots out Gary as an example, and he is the exception that proves the rule, right? So if your big, example of whatever point you're trying to make is Gary Vaynerchuk, you need to find some more examples. A. B, engagement comes from content, right? If you don't have any content, what are people engaging with? Rumor, innuendo, air. So, content is what drives engagement. Now, if really the point was you ought to spend as much time on reactive social media, i.e., social media for customer service, and spend less time on proactive social media, using social media to tell people how fantastic you are, then I would agree with that statement. I think we are, the pendulum is swinging back, especially with a lot of the look. We made real time social media, and let's announce the Oscars with a tweet. Which all of that is stupid. And using Oreo as an example is the same thing as using Gary as an example, right? One company did it well, so now it's a
Exactly.
trend. That's not a trend. It's one company caught lightning in a bottle.
Right.
So I agree that we are getting too excited about proactive social media content creation, whether it's, hey, here's my meme photo that we're going to put out on Facebook, or my real time tweets, etc. Yeah, I think we are walking away a little bit from social media customer service because social media customer service isn't cool and doesn't win awards and doesn't get covered in the press. So I agree from that perspective, but I don't know that that was the point that the person that you heard from was trying to make. If the idea is, hey, let's put all of our time into interacting with people and answering questions and participating in discussion forums, yeah, I mean, I'm on record as saying, look, you should answer every question, regardless of where that question is asked. I totally agree with that, but that does not mean that you don't need to create content and make the story bigger. It's a notion of whether you believe social media and your participation in social is about you and your company, or it's about something bigger and your company is part of that story. So I think over time it gets really, 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 really old just talking about yourself all the time.
Yeah,
So you got to have a bigger palette of paint.
well, and I think that my issue with it was that they were separating the two, engagement
Yeah,
and content. Like if you were to sit down for an hour, you should be spending 50 minutes of it engaging people and 10 minutes creating content. When if you're actually doing great engagement as a brand, the customer will be creating the content for you in a perfect world,
exactly.
right? So
Yep.
that's where I had some of the issue with it.
Well, and even on the staffing and governance level, we've done some projects recently along these lines that you've got companies that have a social media team or a social media department, and then a content marketing team and a content marketing department. And I understand that concept, but I think you'll be much better off having those people work together as one team and side by side, and sort of cross-training, cross-pollinating those folks. I just think you're going to end up with better outcomes.
Amen. All right. It's another edition of Bear Facts. Thanks,
All right,
Jay.
go back to bed, drink some blood
There we
or
go.
whatever you're doing. Turn into a bat.
Cheers.